Hello there, this is Carlo. Welcome to another After Effects video. Just thought this video I'll do a pretty in-depth JetStrike tutorial for you guys. I haven't really done a really proper professional JetStrike video before, so I thought hey ho, you know what I mean, I might as well just do one now. So this is going to be pretty, well, hopefully not that long, but it's going to be long enough. But hopefully all the techniques we'll be using in this tutorial you can use with JetStrike in creating these effects, or you can use them for your other projects, so it all comes in handy. So this is what we're going to be trying to create. I'll just play it now for you. Let's start again. So you see we've got our jet floating in, flying, clouds, the whole shebang. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. Okay, so I've created a new comp. I've made it 11 seconds long, and what we're going to do, we're going to create a new solid, and we're going to call that Elements 3D, and just click enter on that. And what we're going to do, we're going to right click, we're going to go up to Effects, Video Copilot. You will need Elements obviously, and you will need JetStrike in order to be able to do this tutorial or follow this tutorial. We are going to open up our scene setup, JetStrike, and then we're going to find our jet. The one I like to use is Air Force One because I think it's an awesome plane. We're just going to turn off our draft textures there, and we're just going to bring it in and just do some tweaks to our jet now. So we're going to click the environment map, and we're going to change that to roof and click OK. Just make sure our environments are on, like so. And I'm going to change it to cinema lighting, like so, because I do like the effect similar to cinema lighting. So then we're going to click on our body, and then we're just going to play around with our diffuse. I'm going to bring the diffuse right up so it's nice and bright, and I'm going to bring my specular up as well. If you look there, you can see the specular sort of coming out from that. Just make it nice and crisp, as you can see. So then I'm just going to whack OK, and we've brought our jet into After Effects from Elements. Right, so now we're going to go Layer, New Camera. We are going to keep it on 80mm and click OK. And then all we're going to do is we are going to click on our camera again, or press C on the keyboard, and just put this into position where I want, like about sort of, bring over, maybe down a bit to about there, which is cool. Okay. So now we need our background plane, which is our clouds. So I'm going to import that now. And when you actually buy JetStrike, you'll get a resource pack with loads of really cool clouds in. I'm just going to go for this main cloud here, and all I'm going to do is drop that in my comp. It'll bring it like that, and all we do is we're going to make it a 3D layer. Hit S on the keyboard for scale, and it's just going to scale it right down, maybe the other way, like that, and it's just going to bring it into position, and then we're just going to get where the Z is, and then just push it back into space, bring it back into position, maybe zoom in so we can see it, push it more back into space, and all we're going to do is we're going to scale it back to size. Obviously it's like this because it's a 3D layer, so that's why you're getting that sort of 3D look. But as you can see, where you've pushed it back into space, we've got a lot more depth within our scene. Okay, so now what we're going to do is do a bit of camera work. So we are going to basically hit A on the keyboard, and sorry, AA, and then all we're going to do is we're going to change our zoom to 4500, press enter, and that just gives it a lot more depth and a lot more scale as well, as you can see. And then we're just going to close that, and we're going to close that, hit the camera, P on the keyboard, hit our stopwatch, bring it all the way to the end, and then we're just going to rotate the camera around like so. Don't worry if your background comes off the scene, it's actually meant to. We're going to create our picture, bring that back on the scene, and as you can see, all we're doing is rotating the jet, bring it back like so, go back to the beginning and just bring it back, and as you can see, we'll just render that out now very quickly. And as you can see, we've got our beautiful jet flying. But what we need to do, we've got a lot more tweaking and a lot more stuff to do to this because it is so far from perfect. But what I like to do is when I create part of a scene, I always like to render it out first. It just makes the workflow a lot more neater, a lot more tidier, a lot more crisper. And obviously I want to do this all in real time as well, because it does help you guys to see every part of the process rather than just pausing it, stopping it, pausing it, stopping it. So that's looking pretty good already, and we haven't even added no lighting, no glow, no nothing to this yet. Obviously the picture's moving, but that's not a problem because we can scale the picture up in a sec after it's rendered. Okay, so we're just going to go to a position where the picture comes off the scene, and all we're just going to do is just drag it over and just make sure our scene moves. Scale that up maybe just a touch, just make sure our scene moves without the picture coming off the scene. Okay, so in a real world scenario, obviously a plane is not going to move so straight like that, because say for instance, you know, you look at it in a sense where someone's actually filming this because you're making a film, so no one's that straight with a camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a little bit of text. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit A on the keyboard, and then we're going to hit the stopwatch and press Alt, and it will bring up this, and all we're going to do is we're going to type in wiggle, W-I-G-G-L-E, open bracket, 0.5, comma, 40, close bracket, and then we're just going to click out of it. And what that's done, if I render it out again, it's given an element that the plane's actually gliding rather than moving straight with the camera. So after this is rendered out, you're going to be able to see what I'm actually talking about. You can see the actual camera is actually moving a little bit up and down as well, which gives an element of realism in the shot. And obviously that is what we're actually aiming for, is realism. Obviously, you know, we're going to animate the turbines to give it a better look, and maybe animate the ailerons as well. So yeah, it's looking pretty cool, but you'll see what I'm talking about once it's rendered and then we play it back. But like I've just said to you guys, I want to do it all in real time, so I want you to be able to see exactly how we do this, or how I do this. I know a lot of other people out there do it a lot different to me, maybe different, I don't know, but this is just how I do it. You can also change the text on your texture map as well, but that's another tutorial for you guys. I might actually throw it into this one, but to see how we're going for time. Okay, so as you can see, the camera is actually moving, bobbing, so it just gives an element of realism there, which makes it look a lot more cooler, as you can see. Okay, so that's looking pretty cool. So I'm going to close that, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to layer new light. So we're going to create a light, and I'm going to make it parallel light, and I want to keep it like a warmy sort of white, like that. And I'm just going to click OK, make the intensity about 150, and I'm just going to click OK. Okay, now with our light selected, I'm going to hit P on the keyboard, and I'm just going to create a position. If you move this in the middle, you can create a nice position, and I'm just going to bring this maybe that way a bit, and then with my light selected, I'm just going to get my prong, and then I'm just going to move it probably to about there. It's probably to about there, and maybe tilt my light up to about, maybe a bit more, probably to about 700, to about there. So we've got a bit of shadow as well. Let's bring this down a lot more, probably to about there. Okay, so that's cool. So we're going to go layer again, and we're going to create another light, and we're going to make this one an ambient light. I'm just going to get my dabber, and I'm just going to select a point of the clouds, which will give me this colour. Make the intensity about 50, and as you can see straight away, it's just made it a lot more sharper. But I'm going to play around with the intensity now and just drop it down just a touch, just so we can get the specular and the shininess of the plane in. But we're going to play around with that right now. Okay, so we're going to click on our elements layer, and then we're going to come down to output, and we're going to concentrate on Multipass Mixer. And what this would do, this will give you all the different settings for the textures of the plane, the colors of the plane, and the shininess of it. And I'm just going to get my specular, and I'm just going to bring it all the way up, and then I want to bring my diffuse maybe to lower it. No, let's go a bit up actually, to about there, and bring my specular maybe a bit more up, and just maybe bring my reflection up a bit, and maybe illumination just a touch. Okay, so that's looking good. Let me just check to make sure it's okay, and make sure that's okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add a bit of glow to this footage. So we're going to go layer new adjustment layer, and then we're going to go to effects, stylize, glow. Automatically it will bring it like this, but don't panic if it looks like this, it's not a problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the glow threshold right down, and bring our threshold all the way up to about there. All we're doing is creating a nice glow around the edge there, as you can see. Maybe bring the intensity up a bit, so we've got a nice glow. Maybe just drop it down just a touch, like that. Okay, so that's good. So let's just zoom back out. So yeah, we've got a nice glow there. So now we're going to click on our elements layer. We are going to come to our render settings, our glow, and then we're going to change. Let me just bring this down here, make sure I've got it all right. Bring that to multiply, like that. And then we're going to click on enable glow. And what's that's done, look at the lights. Ready? On, off, on, off. And what that's done is just given it a nice sort of glow. So basically we're just going to play around with that now. Go back to our adjustment layer, open that glow, and maybe bring, let's just see our intensity, maybe just up just a little bit more, like so. Well, maybe down a bit, because you can see the edging. Maybe that way just a bit. We've got glow on the lights, and then we can just play around with this just to give the lights. We can just bring this down and just play around with our bar. It's about there, and then we could just bring our intensity down, up that bar. Let's bring our intensity up actually, and let's close that, and let's bring our threshold down, up, sorry, to 100, maybe drop that down. No, let's bring that up actually, bring our intensity down. So open our bar for that so we can get a bit more. Just enough so we've got a glow in the lights, as you can see. That's what we're aiming for, glow in the lights. Like so. Okay, so that don't look too bad. That don't look too bad at all. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are just going to render this out now and wait for this to render. As you can see, we've got our plane moving, we've got a nice glow, we've got some glow around the edges of the plane to, you know, give it its own individual look. But then what we're going to do in a sec is just play around with our curves and do a bit of color correction in a couple of seconds while this renders. And we're going to animate our turbines and ailerons as well, just to give it that just little bit of realism. So that's looking pretty sweet. So let that render. Like I say, I want to do this all in real time. Okay, we'll just render it out to that scene so we can see what we're doing. Okay, so that's looking pretty sweet. You know, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna right click on our adjustments layer, go up to effects, and we're gonna go to color correction, and then we're gonna come down to our curves. And all we're gonna do is just play around with our lighting, basically, just to sort of match it with the scene, and just to make it pop just a bit. Maybe bring our glow threshold down a bit more. To about there. Bring our radius right down, and then bring this a little bit more up again, so we get the lighting looking a lot better. And maybe put that to about there. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. That's looking good. Okay, so we're going to open up our lights one. I'm going to click on it, press AA, and we're just going to have a look to make sure our lighting's all good. That's all good. intensity, maybe drop our intensity down just a bit to about there. Open this, make sure our camera's okay, focus distance is good, everything's looking good, and that's looking pretty sweet. So we've got our colour correction done, we've got our glow done. We're going to change this glow operations and click on screen, so we can actually add it to the screen. We're just going to bring this down just a touch. That's our ambient midpoints. Okay, so let's just close all this and then just render that out. As you can see, we've got a lot more shadows. Our light is a lot more intense, and it's looking a lot more realistic, especially with our wiggle we did. We'll render this to right to the end. And then we're going to animate maybe our wing ailerons and our turbines as well, just to give it a bit of, like it's banking, a lot more effect as well. You can see our lighting, our glow's looking really good on our wing lights. Obviously, you know, we're going to animate the turbines because if you're watching this obviously on a big screen TV, obviously you're going to see the turbines a lot more. So you know, if you're playing it on a big screen TV and you can see the turbines and they're not moving, it's going to look crap. So that's why we're going to animate them, is to give it a bit more detail. If you're watching it on a big screen TV, and you can actually see what's going on more than what you can on a smaller monitor. That's nearly done now. Always remember, always try and render your projects up after you do, you know, add a couple of effects. It does make your workflow flow a lot better. Okay, that's done in a couple of seconds. Okay, so here we go. It's looking pretty sweet, as you can see. Very realistic effect. Fantastic. Right, okay, so let's click on elements. When you open up elements, obviously your rig for your jet will be ready for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort out the rudders first. So we're going to hit position, bring it to the end, like so, and then we're just going to bring our rudders up like that. Bang. So now what we've done is we've actually, you know, animated our rudders as well. So let's bring that back, and then what we're going to do is we're going to animate our turbine stopwatch, bring the footage right to the end, and we're just going to go all the way. Bang. So our turbines are moving as well. So what we do is we'll render this out again. I know it's a bit painstaking waiting, but this is all part of the fun. See if we can zoom in. You can just see how these are moving. You can see they're moving because it just gives you the element that these are spinning really fast. back out. Now finish its render, and then we'll put it on full resolution and play it back when it's done. It'll be done in a second, or we can actually stop it here if we wanted to, and for the sake of this tutorial we will do that. As you can see, it's pretty sweet. It's moving really nicely. The turbines are moving, as you can see, because you can see with the reflection, if you look clearly on here, this bit here, you can see the lighting is changing, so you can see the turbines are moving, which is awesome. And that's basically it really. That is how painlessly you create a really cool animated jet or aeroplane in JetStrike. So what you would do, I mean, if you select your element and go back into your scene setup and then select on your body, and then click on this, you can actually create your own textures, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do that in the next tutorial for you guys, because that is a separate tutorial by itself. But I hope you've enjoyed this pretty sweet tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the very next After Effects tutorial. Thanks for watching.